So, good evening, gentlemen. I'm recording this session. Anybody have any problem, please do let me know right now, and I'll put this video on YouTube. ऐसा कोई है जिसको कोई problem है? If problem है, you can leave the meeting. Is it fine with everyone?
Yes, sir. Fine.
Yeah,
sir.
it's fine. No problem.
Okay, great. Good to go then. So, guys, in this session, we are going to conduct GD. Okay. So, Suraj, can you little bit explain me what from where this part GD comes in, which part, which day?
Yeah, sure.
Please.
So basically, in the ICG, and during the final selection board, if anyone report on the day 0, that will be the resting day where you will be coming and filling up the PIQ form, and some documentation verification will be ongoing. From the next day, the day 1, there will be psychology test, and after that, from day 2, the GTO series of GTO tasks will take place. So in that, this is one of the indoor tasks. So where the GTO will be giving us 2 topics. Initially, there will be 2 GD sessions. That will be GD1 and GD2. In the first GD session, the GTO will be giving us 2 topics to discuss. So it will be similar to the discussion section which we experience in the PPDT. So in this scenario, the GTO will be giving us options to choose any one of the topic. And after we choose one topic, we will be undergoing a discussion session for 10 to 15 minutes around. It may extend to 20 minutes as well, depends upon the situation. And after that, the GD is completed. Then the second, the GT officer will be giving us the second GD topic. In this scenario, the second GD topic, there won't be any option. Rather, he will be asking directly to discuss the topic. So in that respect, this GD is about. Apart from this GD activity, there will be GPE, there will be lecturate, and there will be individual obstacle. That's it for the FSB, and finally the conference day, and that's all. Yeah.
Okay.
If anyone wants to add, can add. Yeah. I hope I have covered the things.
Okay, great. No issues. Vamsi, you have been to SSB also before? A part of FSB?
Yes, I have been to SSB twice.
Okay, so can you tell a little bit? Okay, can you tell a little bit different? Is there any difference like GD take place in SSB and FSB? Some damn duration is more or less, something like that.
I don't think the duration is different, but
okay,
the duration of the GD and the way it is conducted is more or less same when compared to SSB and FSB. But the only thing is, in my view, the GD is conducted indoor in FSB, but where the GD, GP, and lecturette, they are conducted outdoor, like in a ground or a field, like something in SSB. So that is the difference. Apart from that, the timings and the way it is conducted is exactly same as the SSB.
Okay, that's fine, gentlemen. So from my end, there is one suggestion to everyone. It's a group discussion. Okay, it's not, fighting. You don't need to fight. It's not a debate. It's a group discussion. I think you can understand what is a debate and discussion if you're a graduate. Okay, so I'm going to roll out the topic for today's discussion. Anyone is a fresher here? Whenever been to SSB? All are like repeaters, right? Yes or no?
Yeah, all are repeaters.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. तो थोड़ा जोश के साथ, थोड़ा पावर के साथ.
So I have not been to any SSB or PSB before. This will be my first time.
Okay. So आपने YouTube पे वीडियोस देखी हैं काफी चैनल्स की और चैनल्स की? You gone through that?
Yes, sir. I have seen some videos regarding GD and all. And,
okay,
especially your videos.
Okay, so you have a little bit idea about all those things, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So I'm going to roll out the topic. So listen very carefully. Okay, I'm audible, right? Clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, good. So Russia has taken a big step and invaded Ukraine. What is the reason behind Russian action? So I'm giving you the lead one. To increase the nationalistic sentiments in Russian citizens, to increase Putin's popularity in midst of an economic slowdown. Lead 2, a desire to expand Russia's territory and try to rise back as modern-day USSR. Lead 3, to counter NATO provocation. And lead 4, to show that sanctions don't work and by and large, US could not be trusted. So, gentlemen, I'm repeating topic again and 4 leads, okay? Listen very carefully again. Russia has taken a big step and invaded Ukraine. What is the reason behind Russian action? To increase nationalistic sentiments in Russian citizens, to increase Putin's popularity in mindset of an economic slowdown. Lead to a desire to expand Russia's territory and try to rise back as modern-day USSR. Lead 3, to counter NATO's provocation. Lead 4, to show that sanctions don't work and by and large, US could not be trusted. Okay, gentlemen. So you have a 15 minutes. Now you can start your discussion. Please proceed.
Gentlemen, according to my point of view, we can see that Russia is today invading the Ukraine. So the main issue is NATO's provocation that Ukraine is going to join the NATO. Already they want to become the member of NATO. The processing is going on, but Russia don't want Ukraine because Russia fears that if Ukraine will be a NATO country, so there can be a front attack from the if there is a condition. So US and other NATO countries can be a we can say that it will be a great impact on the Russia's because whenever is a warlike condition, Russia won't be safe. So this is the mindset of Putin, and so that's why he don't want Ukraine want to go in the hands of NATO's being a part of NATO. So mainly this reason only is there for the aggression of Russia over Ukraine.
Exactly, I agree with
I
you,
believe
but,
that
I believe like Ukraine is the buffer zone between Western countries and Russia, and we all know it is a very strategic point. For if like it becomes a member of NATO, then ultimately it is a threat for Russia. So Russia is defending itself from the external like factors, and we all know like there is always a race between Western and the Russia to become a more influence in the entire region. So
if we talk about
we all, as we all are aware that
1991, the fall of USSR was there. So basically, it was a part of USSR. It was we can say it was a part of that. Now it is joining. The talk was there that it can join the NATO. So for the Russia, it was a threat for their territory because if Ukraine Ukraine joins the NATO, then the direct threat of America will be there. So
gentlemen, as we all know that Russia, there has always been a conflict between Russia and Ukraine, but the call of President Putin to engage a war is basically in my opinion is because of the sanctions and threats that the Western threatened to impose on the Russia. If you all recall the steps all the past in the earlier few days before the war was being declared, Putin actually was in process to withdraw his troops, but then it was the Western influence who was repeatedly trying to invoke Putin that this is being done because they did it. It was their involvement in that which sort of forced them to engage their troops, which shows that they are strong and they are not under anyone's influence when it comes to making decisions.
yes,
Okay,
if we talk
gentlemen,
about Ukraine,
as we all
Ukraine
know,
is
that's the major reason is the NATO. We can easily find out that we can see the exact situation that Russia is tackling the neighboring countries like Finland, and he warned the Finland also if that country comes under the NATO or shake hands with the NATO, then they will directly they will oppose that countries. And there is another reason that emotional sentiment of the peoples. There are some peoples in the Ukraine who are in the favor of the Russia, and there are some separatists also in the Ukraine which are working from the Russian side, and President Putin taking the help of that separatist to raise the emotional sentiment of the citizens of the Ukraine, and at the same time
that
it
area
is
is called
facing the
Donbass.
NATO also.
That
But
area, as
General,
Mahipal
I
rightly
would
mentioned,
like
that area is
to
mentioned at
disagree with
Donbass,
you.
which has a
Yeah,
Gentlemen,
let
as
Vamsi
has
speak.
a
I would like to
Russian majority.
Let
Yeah. Please, Vamsi, say.
Vamsi. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
Vamsi,
was
please go ahead.
making some point.
I would like to add one point. As we all know, before the war and a long time ago, both Ukraine and Russia were together. After the separation,
Yes, yes,
also most
yes,
of the trade between Russia and other countries
yes,
is happening through many ways in through Ukraine also. So the
yes.
biggest
That's
problem
why the
now
Putin
Russia is
take
facing.
advantage of
Yeah,
that
now
situation. That some, yeah, because the history.
now what Russia feels is, once if the NATO countries took control over the Ukraine, then definitely there will be a very huge difficulties for Russia to continue its trade in terms of transporting the natural gas or something. And on the other way, most of the as the two countries are combined and now they are separated, we have people from both the ends. Like in the border states, we have people from Russia and we have people from the Ukraine. So the main reason for the war is like there are some rebel groups who are who are
Yes,
against fighting against the government and raising few issues. So if only if we want, every country wants peace. So if there is an election and kind of thing, then definitely it can be controlled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would like to
I believe
highlight
that
few
Vamsi,
points.
yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So in my perspective, if you see, so every one of you have mentioned that the Ukraine was emerged from the USSR. So there is already a sentiment among Russians that yes, Ukraine was our part, it was our progeny. So if a separated state, which is a progeny, which is turning out to be pro-US or pro-West, can harm the territorial sovereignty of Russia. So in that respect, or the NATO provocation in against that, Russia is doing so. If you see in the previous incident in 2014, when Russia annexed the Crimea region, so basically what had happened during that time, if you remember, the people were there who voted against their president. The president was, during that time, he was supporting the Russia, and he neglected the EU deal, and instead they just take some few $billion from them, and this had great sentiment. And at the response of that, Russia invaded that Crimea region to impart that sanctions. Okay, so that was a region. So go ahead, Sarvesh, make your point.
Gentlemen, as you mentioned
Yeah,
that
as Vamsi was rightly
as
mentioning,
you
that it has also to do with the political influence that Russia has always had between the Ukraine and the separatist groups that he mentioned. The Donetsk region, in particular, was always in favor of Russia when it came to even as we speak, the war is going on, and it has toppled the capital, as reports say. The Russian forces have toppled the capital as well, but Ukraine could have primarily their intention was to solve it diplomatically, and so that they could have sort of taken Ukraine under their wings, and neglected the Western opinions over the entire between the, which could have easily solved between the two countries, two neighboring countries.
But
Yeah, so
gentlemen, as you
another
have
reason we
both
can.
have mentioned about the emotional sentiments, so you said that the Russia is concerned about the emotional sentiments, the integrity of Ukraine and Russia in the USSR. But you have seen that the people from Russia, although Putin is a so hard dictator, means he is going to punish everyone, but still the people from Russia are not afraid of Putin and they are protesting against the invasion. They are favoring the Ukraine. In the Russia itself today, if you see the news of today, that people from Russia are protesting against Putin invasion, and they are saying that
Yeah,
this is only Putin's decision and this is not our decision, and he is not favoring the country, he is favoring his own interests.
Yeah, one more reason
I
I
would
would like
like
to
to
mention
add my
here is
insights. If you
one.
see, if Ukraine is not invaded, Ukraine is becoming the tilting towards the west. if the West signed that NATO agreement now, if you see, then there will be a compromisation of the territorial boundary. If NATO will be there, it will be under NATO, then heavy machinery, heavy things can be done there, and Russia's border will be disputed. If the only thing is there, the Ukraine president needs to bow down or needs to be pro-Russia in something. So that is not happening. So this miscalculation among the sentiments that is happening, the war is ongoing.
Yeah, one more point I
And
would like to add
gentlemen,
here
if we
is
talk about the sanctions, so
after the
Putin is not
after
at
the
all
fall of the
concerned about the
USSR.
sanction which throughout the world, throughout the countries are putting on Russia. So he's not at all concerned about the sanction, and he's clearly saying to all the countries that we will see you if you put our sanction on us. We are going to means in the hard way. He's saying that we will going to see you, and we will also give a response to these sanctions.
Yeah, one more reason why Ukraine people don't like Russia is after the fall of the USSR, there was an agreement called Budapest Agreement, in which Russian said that we will protect you. Instead of that, you have to hand over all your nuclear capabilities. You have to hand over to us. So after that, this deal is also broken. If we talk about the present time, this deal is broken by the Russia, as they have taken all the nuclear weapons of Ukraine, but
Yeah.
they are attacking them, and they are taking under them.
This was also one of the reasons which Russia mentioned they were attacking Ukraine to like sort of neutralize the nuclear ability that Ukraine possesses.
Yeah, it was, you rightly pointed out the Budapest Agreement, which was signed in 1994 after the USSR just fallen out to emerge as the various 15 Soviet unions, right? So it is one of the great point as well. But that time, after sacrificing their nuclear arms and all, now they are facing the threat. And later, the Western, they left that part. They left their diplomats left that country, but didn't provided any, what you can say, defense equipment at then also. And Russia also wanted to make them see that see, if we attack, the other countries are not going to come for help. You have to coordinate with all of us. It is showing that, because if you see the recent news, the Ukrainians are defending themselves by using the S-300, which was developed in 1980s by USSR regime. And the US and the Western country, they are not even providing ammunition or the defense equipment. Although they can provide, they are just protecting the borders of the NATO countries, not coming in front of it, only imposing the sanctions and all. That is only the from the words they are playing. So that is a huge thing happening.
Not only to mention the US,
If we
although
see
also the
like,
international organizations like the UNSC, for example, NATO, who was encouraging Ukraine to join them, the European Union, everyone has raised their hands on Ukraine. They have been left to feed for the dogs. No, only diplomatic talks and bilateral events have taken place, but like majority of them have like sidelined themselves and sort of boycotted from shedding their eyes away from the current situation. Only verbal and what you say verbal agreements were made by the Western influence with Ukraine.
Exactly, Sarvesh.
And gentlemen, there was a
From this,
first lead in
India
which
India should take a lesson from this, and should move to more should move to Atmanirbharta, because seeing the example of Ukraine, if hypothetically speaking, if China attacks or some other country attacks, we can't be dependent on America or other Quad. We have to become Atmanirbhar. So yes, this is my point.
And gentlemen, there was a first lead that Putin wants to capture the territory of Ukraine, but in his opinion, he clearly denied that statement that he's going to just neutralize, just overpower the military power of Ukraine, and after that, he just want to throw away the current government of Ukraine, and after that, he is going to settle a pro-Russia government in Ukraine, and after that, he's going to leave the territory of Ukraine. He's not that having the policy of that I want to capture the territory of Ukraine. So his mindset is not that. His mindset is clearly to tackle the NATO only, to show the power to the NATO that Ukraine show the power to the NATO countries that if any countries like one of my friend mentioned about the Finland and Sweden, these two countries also want to join. They have shown interest, but Putin has already talked to them and given a threat to both of the countries that if you are going to do so, I am going to invade both these countries as well.
Russia
Yeah.
attack, when Russia announced that the military operation, everybody was shocked because his motto was fulfilled when he broke the Ukraine into two more countries, that is Luhansk and Donetsk. So at that time, the American diplomats were flew to America. So at that time also, his motto was completed. But the military operation, when he announced the military operation, was completely shocked for the world, because the motto which he want to achieve, that he is not afraid or something like that, he's not afraid or he can do anything around his territory. So
Yeah.
the motto was achieved, but
Exactly,
then
that
Putin
he was not under any afraid of any sanctions that were going to be enforced if he broke the if he sort of in any way invaded Ukraine. It was not the by his nature everyone could predict that it was just to show that military power, that if Ukraine were to join NATO, then this could have happened. But it was basically the threat of sanctions that triggered the war, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, I would
Talking about
like
the
to
sanctions, he is,
yeah,
yes, please,
go ahead, go ahead. Yeah.
please. Yeah, talking about the
Okay.
sanction, he is not at all afraid of sanctions. He just only afraid he's afraid only with the one section, that is SWIFT. He's only afraid from that. About as that he is not aware of any he's not afraid of any sanctions.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay,
yes.
I would like to put this our discussion to a new perspective. If you see during the Cold War, when the West was fighting with USSR, so after the Cold War ended, the USSR was fragmented into many unions, right? Many countries, even Ukraine is coming out. Now, if you see in that perspective, Ukraine was the part of the Russia, that the former called USSR. But now, what NATO is doing? NATO is slowly capturing all the countries under its influence, the Western influence, and it is also hampering the leader. Leader is very much concerned if all the, what you can say, if you see the Baltic nations, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, it is already signed that NATO part. The Poland is now in the NATO part, and slowly the boundary area, if they become the Western influence, then there will be very much threat for the Russians or the Russian sovereignty. So in that respect, if this buffer zone don't exist now, then there will be so much loss, and the Western will be always bullying the Russia or will be overpowering it. To mitigate that, Russia is doing this, what I feel, because unless and until it doesn't show the power now, the Western world will overpower all the what you can strong nation. So in that respect, what Russia is doing, it is doing for their nation's security perspective as well, what I feel.
According to
Okay,
me,
if we
NATO.
see the
Yeah,
situation
but
from another
as we all saw
perspective,
that
like
the basic,
we all
yes,
know,
please.
if India, like Russia get the access to the Black Sea, and we all know it is a transit corridor for the whole like nearby countries. And if Russia get the access, ultimately it will get improve his influence in the entire region. So it could be the another perspective, because of that
Yeah,
Russia is invading Ukraine.
it
Okay,
has already
gentlemen.
accessed by annexing Crimea in 2014. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay, gentlemen. I'm audible, right? So
Yes, sir.
it was a
Yes, sir.
good discussion. Take care. So I think we should wind up this session. You want me to conduct one more session where I can give you two choices where you can have discussion? What do you say? That's all. Just say yes or no.
No, sir. Actually, from one of my friend, I came to know that the leads were for this particular